given the events over the past couple of days. And that topic is the topic of choices. Choices. Now, choosing or making a choice is one of the only true freedoms that any of us really have, is to make a choice. Whether that's the choice to be here today as the media, the choice to go to school, join the military, join law enforcement. Making a choice is a freedom that resides within us. Now, good choices are important in life, as we all know. And many actions that take place are due to our choices. The choice to, say, cross the border illegally, that is a choice that someone makes. To cross the border illegally, that's a choice. The choice not to utilize the CBP Home app, that's a choice.
I can see him being a politician.
Not standing in line and doing it the right way.
Progression. I think he's got the
is a choice.
Intellect.
And there are always actions that result from our choices.
He's got the articulation. I think he
when
has
you
the
choose
intelligence. I think he
to
has
use
the
your
goods
5-year-old child as a shield
senator. I don't see him as a
to
president.
evade law
I definitely see him
enforcement,
as
that is a
senator.
choice that someone makes.
Republican
and there are
senator.
actions and consequences that result from that choice.
I don't know if that's his ambition, but
or when you're a
I've seen him in some
politician
clips,
or a
and he's
community
sharp.
leader, you make a lot of choices there, some very important, wide-ranging, and in-depth choices. When, as a politician, if you choose collusion and corruption as a choice, then there are consequences and actions that take place because of that. That's one reason the U.S. Border Patrol and ICE are here in Minneapolis by the thousands, is because of those choices. When politicians, community leaders, and some journalists engage in that heated rhetoric we keep talking about, when they make the choice to vilify law enforcement, calling law enforcement names like Gestapo, or using the term kidnapping, that is a choice that is made. There are actions and consequences that come from those choices. And then when you choose, when someone chooses to listen to a politician, a so-called journalist, a community leader that spouted that type of vilification towards law enforcement or anything else, when you choose to listen to that, that is a choice, and there are consequences and actions there also. I think we saw that yesterday.
I want to skip to the questions. So I think his associate, and I think there's questions about here.
This work isn't about headlines. It's about public safety. We can now take some questions.
Commander Rubino.
He was previously in federal immigration custody in 2018 at a jail in Minnesota, and then was released under the Trump administration again in 2018. You talk about choice. That was also a choice to release this individual, the man that you were targeting, obviously to detain him. So if he was released in 2018 from federal immigration custody, why would that be the case? Why was that choice made?
Yeah, I don't know the particular case in 2018 that you're talking about.
Why are you
but
bringing
this,
up a case
this individual that we
from
put
8
that
years
back
ago?
up there, please. That individual is now an illegal alien. It's my mission to find this illegal alien before he harms another American citizen.
Exactly.
And does harm. That's what I'm after there.
Exactly.
And yet we can go back and look and blame in history. Right now, my mission is to take this individual off the street. And the main point here being is this individual is in the process of being taken into custody.
Right.
Agitators, rioters, and anarchists prevented us from taking this individual into custody because of a very, very chaotic scene. This individual should be in custody right now, not out on the streets preying on Americans. That is the story that is most poignant here.
Right.
Multiple videos from different angles of the shooting from yesterday, and at no point is he seen brandishing.
I'm sorry, repeat that, please.
We have seen multiple videos from the incident yesterday from different angles, and at no point do we see Alex Preddy brandishing a weapon, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said that he was brandishing a weapon, and in the video we see him on the ground with his hands on his head. We see an officer leaving what it appears to be with the weapon after he extracted it from Preddy's waist area. Did the officers see the weapon? Did they see him brandishing the weapon at him?
Sure. Many videos out there, many different accounts that you may see, that I may see, that anybody here may see. That, folks, is why we have something called an investigation, to take what you're talking about,
Yep.
to take those videos, to take witness statements, to take officer statements, all those minute details that will paint a true picture, not a freeze frame concept, and paint a larger picture of what really happened. That is why we investigate, so we can get to the truth, so there's not speculation. Speculation after 24 hours, you've got a lot of speculation in there.
Everybody is speculating on what happened with the shooting in Minneapolis with the nurse. I've seen a lot of stuff online, kind of personally attacking the nurse, which is wild. He was wrong for, like, anybody who attacks police officers is wrong. It doesn't matter what you're doing it for, okay? Your cause is not a good enough excuse for you to attack law enforcement. I don't care if it's the police locally. I don't care if it's the military police. I don't care if it's ICE. If you attack federal law enforcement officers, federal agents, you're going to go to jail. That's like the least thing that's going to happen to you. And then obviously the worst thing is losing your life. So, as an adult, and especially as a grown man, this is the era of FAFO. And you have got to be a moron to think that nothing's going to happen to you or something. I don't understand people's logic, but also you have to be much more than a moron to attack law enforcement, any law enforcement, and have a weapon on you. Like, that is just, I don't want to say that's asking for it, because that's not the right word or term, but that's like doing the worst case scenario of the worst case scenario and then acting as if it's not, which doesn't make any sense to me. It is a terrible tragedy that man lost his life, but like Bavino was saying, sad but true, like, he lost his life because he chose to do that. He made a choice and it cost him his life. And I think that that's something that we really need to start thinking about here. These questions, by the way, are juvenile.
Agents
just for the
are
record,
doing on that scene, making a split-second decision. You've had 24 hours to try and armchair quarterback things. That agent had a split second to make a decision.
Commander Rubino, between your agency and Commander
It's
Rubino.
not speculation.
Who's next?
And then right here.
Commander, was Alex Preddy armed when he was shot?
Again, the investigation is going to uncover all those facts, things like how many shots were fired, where were the weapons located. All those facts are going to come out in the investigation. I wasn't there wrestling that assaultive subject that was assaulting Border Patrol agents. I wasn't there wrestling him myself, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm going to wait for that investigation to come. No, don't interrupt me. I'm going to wait till that investigation comes out until I make a decision there.
with all due respect, shut the French toast up. He is the person talking. You're a reporter. Shut up. Don't talk over him. How disrespectful. No one wants to hear you pontificate. No one wants to hear your argument. You're a reporter. Ask the question and then shut your mouth. No one cares about your opinion. This isn't your podcast.
If there's an investigation going on and you have not concluded, isn't it possible this was a bad shooting? Or have you already concluded for yourself?
What are you talking about, you moron? You don't ask someone when they straight up told you, I'm not going to speculate, to make them draw a conclusion. You're asking him to draw a conclusion when he straight up said, I'm not making a conclusion because I'm not going to speculate. Like, what are you talking about? these people are, I shouldn't say these people, these reporters are just, they don't teach people how to critically think. It's ridiculous.
This was justified.
I've not concluded anything. I've not given you a conclusion. But what I
Literally.
do know,
How many times does he have to
what
say
I
it?
do know is this individual.
If it's possible, anything's possible. Nobody knows the truth right now. That's the point. Like, what are you saying?
Was on that scene several minutes before that shooting, interfering with a lawful, legal, ethical law enforcement operation to arrest Jose Huerta Chuma. And again, it's back to choices. We just talked about choices. When someone makes the choice to come into an active law enforcement scene, interfere, obstruct, delay, or assault law enforcement officers, and they bring a weapon to do that, that is a choice that individual made.
No,
Commander Bovino, when it comes to the shooting, from what I understand, there were 2 agents who fired shots. We know one of the agents had 8 years experience, and we know he was a less lethal instructor and had this training. What did the other agent, what was his history, and are they both working right now, or are they on administrative leave?
All agents that were involved in that scene are working, not in Minneapolis, but in other locations. That's for their safety. There's this thing called doxing, and the safety of our employees is very important to us. So we're going to keep those employees safe. As far as the number of shots, the number of agents involved, that, again, is going to come out in the investigation. I'm not going to speculate on who did what, when they did it, how they did it, or what exactly occurred there. I'm going to wait for the investigation to let me know
say that one
what
of
happened.
them did have 8 years experience, so we are talking about one of the agents. Why
Yes.
not talk about the other who shot as well?
Because before those facts come out, we need to ensure that we're talking truthfully and accurately. And before I speculate, I'm going to talk truthfully and accurately.
Between your agency, Border Patrol, and Mr. Charles, your agency, ICE, we've now seen 2 separate people shot and killed by your officers within 17 days. Do either of you plan on taking any accountability for those actions?
2 suspects, or you're correct, 2 suspects have been shot.
What are these questions,
and
bro?
Suspects that assault,
This is not real
delay,
life.
obstruct, or threaten a law enforcement officer's life. It goes back to the choices that we just talked about. When individuals make poor choices, poor decisions, come into a law enforcement situation, an active law enforcement situation, conspire to come into that situation. Whether that's based on ideology, we don't know. That'll be in the investigation that we just talked about. That's what we base the split-second decisions on, and our law enforcement officers are safe. They managed to come home at the end of shift. And, again, I would implore upon any individuals, whether they're anarchists, rioters, or anyone else that thinks it wise to go into a law enforcement scene to disrupt,
Literally.
to delay,
Yeah.
is to don't do that. Think about,
Yeah.
let's
If you
let's
like to
think
live,
about that in
just-
terms, say a
just-
bank robbery
just
is in
don't do it.
progress, and the police are taking care of that, and then you decide to go in there and perhaps take action. That's not a good idea in any form or fashion. The same thing with Title 8.
This is, and you know what? I think we can leave it there. That's the point. That's the point. If there was a bank robbery, you're not walking in the bank and be like, guys, I'm protesting, right? You're not walking in the bank saying, I'm going to save all the people. You're not. And you're not going to interrupt the cops outside trying to stop the bank robbery. But that's the point Bavino's making, and I think it's valid. No one is looking at this as a crime. They're looking at it in a completely different light, and it's because, like he said earlier in his conference, it's because of the rhetoric of the leaders in Minneapolis that are inciting and firing up these people. Let's go through. I already think I went through Twitter. Well, they're saying, Bavino Bavino's getting replaced, but he's not. They're just bringing in he's the Border Patrol agent. He's the one on the ground. He's gang with the Border Patrol. and he's not changing. So and then Holman is his boss, and he's coming in because Trump is now, Nick's where we got fall. Trump is now, because he's sitting Holman. That means this is a bigger deal now. I'm pleased to confirm the ATF and DOJ executed an arrest warrant for the man I caught on video stealing an FBI rifle out of a car during the Minneapolis riots last night. Good. Oh, I remember that. I saw that video.
Gutierrez, age. I know you just talked to a high-placed source at DOJ. Tell us more.
Yeah, so he wasn't arrested last night. He could have been, but the Minneapolis police didn't bother chasing the vehicle that had just stolen a high-powered rifle out of an FBI car. So
yeah, that's another thing. These police officers are being told not to assist federal law enforcement, and this is how This is how I believe. Sorry, guys, I'm tired. This is what I believe. I believe that these people that have been killed would have been alive today if the mayor of Minneapolis and the governor of Minnesota cooperated with federal law enforcement. If the Minneapolis Police Department was on the street controlling the crowds so that ICE could do their job, none of this would have happened at all. And see, they don't want the police involved because they don't want that shield. Because now if ICE has no shield, then everything will fall on them, right? So they have to do the job of getting the criminals and keeping the protesters at bay, which is, as we're seeing, almost impossible. It's the worst. Mike Pence is good, actually. Mike Pence is awesome. I think he was on the Rogan podcast not too long ago, but IT guy, very smart. Oh, what? Trump says he and the Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey have spoken, and Tom Holman and Frey will be meeting tomorrow. I just had a very good telephone conversation with Major. Yeah, right. Like he's ever served in the armed forces. Get out of here. Mayor Jacob Frey of Minneapolis. Lots of progress is being made. Tom Holman will be meeting with him tomorrow in order to continue the discussion. Thank you for your attention to this matter. This is how I know this conversation. This is how I know this conversation didn't go well. This right here. Lots of progress being made. No, it wasn't. Here's the thing about Trump. Been watching this guy for 10 years. When there's something to say, he says it. He says it all. When there's nothing to say, he don't say nothing. Because there ain't nothing there. This is him just being his hyper optimistic self, right? But this is a nothing burger. Nothing is going to change. Facts. The only thing these people, I say these people, is the left. It's the radical left. The only thing these people understand is pressure. Power and pressure, because that's all they deal in. They deal in power and they deal in pressure. They don't understand anything else. They don't care about anything else. I think we're making this a bigger deal than it is. What? Okay. He's going to have very much continue to lead the Customs and Border Patrol throughout the country. The White House says, but he will retain a national leadership role even as federal authorities reshuffle immigration. Yeah. Listen, this is what's happening, okay? I'm telling you right now, this is what's happening. Remember, you guys got to remember. You guys have to remember. Trump is the president, okay? He is the most powerful person in the entire world. Okay? He sees everything. All right? There's nothing that every briefing he gets every morning, every hour, however minute, I'm sure it's every hour. I'm sure it's every half hour with him because he's OCD like that. He needs to know what's going on all the time. He watches the networks. He knows he is hyper vigilant of the media, okay? Every single news story. I bet you he watches people that we don't even think that he watches, okay? He gets opinions and he hears everyone. He might even be watching this, all right? That's how, analytical this guy is. He's moving chess pieces around the board, right? And when you're talking geopolitics, when you're talking power, when you're talking, political power and the management of human beings and resources, you're not looking at things in an individualistic, isolated way, right? Everything is looked at from a strategic maneuvering of obtaining lofty goals, which start with ideals, right? And, Bavino is not someone that you take off or take out of leadership because he is a natural leader. He's been doing it for a very long time. Taking Bavino out of leadership and putting him into a regular Border Patrol agent role would be like taking Tom Homan out from being the border czar and making him a regular, customs agent. That's never going to happen, right? And I think it's weird. It's weird to me because people that have voted for Trump or know Trump, or know things about Trump, or have been watching him, for a long time. The reason why people like him are successful is because they're able to find, hire, and retain talented people. Okay? That's the one thing that I truly understand about business of any kind. Okay? Your business can only go so far with you by yourself. And then you have to hire specialty people. You got to hire your accountant. You got to hire a CFO. You got to hire an operations manager, right? You have to start expanding your team so that you don't have to do everything. And as you increase revenue, you're able to add more talent. Now, the difference between good and great is that the great people are able to retain their talent. They're able to create incentives for people to stick around, or they're great leaders and they're able to influence people and inspire people to follow them and to stick with them, right? And that comes through character. That's your character is what does that, or your perceived character, I should say, because a lot of people can act. But my point is Bavino is not someone who is sidelined or replaceable, really. He really is, I believe, going to be a politician after this is done, and I think he's going to be a very successful one. But of course, Trump isn't going to take him out of the game. He's in the game, and he's a very big part of the position that he's in with Border Patrol. So, Tom Homan signals that the president has made Minneapolis a priority, and I believe he's giving ultimatums. Okay, I think the Fry, or whatever his name is, Jacob Frey, whatever. I think the conversation went a little bit like this. Jacob, it's Stomp. I'm calling you just to let you know one thing. I'm sending Tom Homan to you. If you do not give Tom Homan what he needs to do his job, I'm going to send in troops. That's what's going to happen. Mark my words. Yeah, I already saw that. All right.